If you would, go check out the Striket Jigs Facebook page and like their page. I'll put a link in the description below the video here. Maybe other people will see that you've liked it and it will help draw in more people for them. I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure he would too. I think he makes a really great product at a great price, and I feel very confident that you're really going to enjoy anything you order from him. Over the Labor Day holiday weekend, I was able to use some jigs I've been wanting to try for a while. They're from a company called Striket Jigs. The gentleman that makes and sells these actually bought one of my rod wrappers from me, and we were corresponding some with each other, and I came to find out that he actually makes and sells his own jigs. So I took a look at his Facebook page, and I really liked what I saw. Ended up getting some from him, and I went out and tried these out for the first time. I've been anxious to try them because they look great. These are ice fishing jigs. They're not really made for the type of fishing that I was doing, but they were still very effective in some tough conditions, and I'll talk a little more about that later. If you do like to ice fish, you might really want to take a look at these because I think he's doing a good thing. So I'll talk a little bit more about the fishing conditions and the type of environment that we were fishing in on this trip, and I think you'll see that these jigs really performed well for the type of conditions that we were in. We decided to take a day trip up in the Ozark Mountains close to where we live in Arkansas. We decided to go to these springs. The water comes straight out of the ground. It's filtered naturally through the earth. It comes back up out of the ground into this spring. The water is cold, and it is just as clear as bottled water. I mean, it's so clear. I know the fish can see everything. We could see all the fish. There were several fish. Wasn't a huge quantity of fish, but there were several. We did not really see any big ones. We saw several smaller ones. So I knew I wasn't going to catch anything big, but we always bring our fishing stuff with us when we go on a little day trip like this, just in case we get a chance to wet a line somewhere. On our rods and reels, I had high vis line on mine, and on the other one we brought, it had braid on it. So, you know, right off the bat, we were not set up properly to fish in water this clear. But the jigs still did a great job. They were very effective, and we didn't have any trouble catching fish. And we caught several in a short period of time. We didn't fish for very long. That proves just how effective the jigs are. And really, I mean, you can tell by looking at them that they're going to produce fish. There's just not any doubt about that. I'm sure if you were actually using these jigs as intended for ice fishing, they would really produce well for you. But I wanted to try them out. They look like something that you could catch fish on in any conditions, really. And I found that to be true because these weren't the best conditions in the world that we were facing on this day. The water was crystal clear. There was hardly any clouds in the sky. You know, the fish were just going to see the line, and they still produced fish for it. So I think that's a pretty good indicator of how effective these jigs are. So we caught a few smallmouth and some other sunfish of different types. And I did mention in the title that we caught one fish that's fairly rare. And the reason it's rare is because it's only found in one area in the world, and that's in the Ozark Mountains in waters that are basically part of the tailwaters of the White River. Anything that connects to the White River in Arkansas, there's a possibility of catching these fish. They're called a Ozark Bass, If you look at them, some people have different names for fish that look similar to this. These are actually their own species. They're classified scientifically as their own species, and they're only found in Arkansas and Missouri around the Ozark Mountains. And they look a whole lot like a rock bass, but the difference is they have more of a molten color to them. The colors fade in and out. Also, their dots on their scales do not form complete rows. They are separated in different areas, and they're shaped just a little bit differently. Not a whole lot, just a little subtle difference on the body shape. They're a little more streamlined than a rock bass would be, but they still have the beautiful scarlet red colored eyes, and they're really pretty fish to look at. And they don't get very big. The state record is only 1 pound and 1 ounce. And I'll put a picture here. My daughter actually caught one a few years ago on a creek near our home, and it was quite a bit bigger than the one that I caught on this day. But I thought it was interesting, and I thought other people might enjoy seeing a fish that you probably don't get to see where you live at, because they're specific to a certain area in the United States and they're not found anywhere else. I hope you can appreciate the scenery. I know the camera doesn't always do places justice, but believe me, this is a beautiful area, and it's like a lot of other areas in our state. In Arkansas, there's just some beautiful scenery, and a lot of it is pretty much uninhabited. A lot of it is part of national forest land and things like that. So the place that we were fishing on this video was actually part of the national forest. There's not anybody living in this area. There's no cell phone service. It's remote, and it's nice, and it's quiet. It's a good place to get away to. So I hope you enjoy the scenery and enjoy the video. And please don't forget to check out Striket Jigs and like their Facebook page and get in touch with them if you're interested in these jigs. I know you'll be happy with them. I'm confident that they'll produce fish for you as well.